Hey, what's going on, Solarpreneurs? We are coming back with another episode. We're going to be talking about how to crush your limiting beliefs. We all have them. We're all guilty of occasionally thinking down on ourselves or not thinking to our potential. So, we're going to talk about some ways you can overcome some beliefs holding you back. Welcome to the show. My name is Taylor Armstrong. I'm your host. We're here to help you close more deals, generate more leads and referrals, hopefully, have a much better time in the solar industry. We are coming up on the new year. It is the new year, rather. And you all know, if you've been a long time listener, that January, February, the first quarter of the new year is one of my favorite parts of the year because we have a lot of cool events coming up. Hey, we got Door to Door Con, we got SolarCon, a whole lot of time to just focus on improving ourselves for the summer, which is the time where we're all hitting it a lot harder, where we're selling. Not to say you can't be selling a lot right now, but I like to take these months to really focus a little bit more on the self improvements, on the self developments. So that way, as the year goes on, you are at an all time high. So that being said, I want to extend a special invitation. If you have not already, go grab your tickets. We got Door to Door Con coming right around the corner. At the time of this recording, it's in like a week and a half, I believe. January 24th and 25th, if I'm not mistaken. So we've got an exclusive Solarpreneur discount. If you have not snagged your tickets, go get them. DoorToDoorCon.com or reach out to me directly. I'll give you a VIP access link, but the code for it is Armstrong20 if you want to get your 20% off your Solarpreneur discount. That, once again, that's Armstrong20. We'll post a link in the show notes if you want to go grab those tickets and hang out with your boy and a whole lot of other cool people at Door to Door Con. Okay, but we're going to jump into the show. Today we're talking about limiting beliefs. And if you have not already set some goals for this year, I would encourage it. But as you're going along this goal setting process for the year, something that you need to be paying attention to is, what are some limiting beliefs holding you back? Hey, I've been going through just a little course on goal setting and really trying to refine my goals, make sure I maximize my potential this year. And as I was starting to set my goals, I realized I'm like, oh, I don't even really know. What do I want to do this year? And this year, more than other years, for whatever reason, I was having a really hard time just thinking of, what are some things I can push for? What are some ways I can improve myself in multiple ways, whether it's mentally, physically, spiritually? I was having a tough time thinking through it, and I'm still working through it. But as I was going through this last night on my little Sunday planning session, which you should all be doing, hey, I was realizing that one of the reasons I'm having such a hard time is because I had limiting beliefs around what I actually want to achieve this year. Hey, I didn't install as many as accounts as I wanted to last year, so that was one of my limiting beliefs. As I was setting these goals, I'm like, you know what? I didn't do very good last year. Let's make my goal even smaller. So I thought, this is probably something that other people struggle with. Let's do an episode on it. Okay, so I'm going to share with you some things that I did in some exercises actually last night, and then just some ways I think that you can eliminate these beliefs. Okay, and some tools you can use throughout the year as you have these limiting beliefs come up. Okay, but just a couple things before we get into that. I want to preface it with just, a few things about limiting beliefs. Really, these beliefs shape our reality. Hey, you've probably heard this, but whatever you think, you're going to become. Hey, if you think you're a terrible person, you're probably going to become a terrible person. If you think you're out of shape, if you think you have a terrible diet, if you're just fat and ugly, that's what you're going to become. We've all seen it. And something that reminded me of this, I have a friend, unfortunately, who lost his wife to cancer and is going through a really tough time right now. And really hard to see. And, I don't claim to know what it's like. Very few people have had to go through that. But I've been talking to him, and he's just going through a tough time right now. And every time we get on the phone, he's just like, man, my life sucks. This is not my year. No one understands what I'm going through. Never going to be able to be happy again. Just all sorts of things like that. And I feel for him. Like, it would be extremely tough. Um, and I don't know if I would do any better in that situation. But as he was telling me these things, really the only thing I could think about is, man, as tough as this is, as crappy as the situation is, losing his wife and, not having a lot of support around him, he's back running his business and just facing a lot of challenges with that as well. But really, just as he was saying these things, I'm like, dude, I get it's really tough, but if you keep thinking like that, that's just how things are going to continue, right? You lost your wife, you're going through a tough time. But if you believe you're never going to be happy again, if you believe just the world is out to get you, I think that's how it's going to continue. And, easier said than done. Luckily, hopefully, most of us don't have to go through circumstances like that. But really, just number one, be grateful that you don't have to go through extremely difficult situations like that. But number two, whatever you're going through, just remember that's what's going to happen. The beliefs shape our reality, right? And a lot of us have heard the story of like the 4 minute mile, things that we thought were never possible, but once they were achieved, someone else did it right after that, right? Roger Bannister ran the 4 minute mile. Right after he did it, several other people did it after that because all of a sudden they believed it was possible. Okay, and Mount Everest is another example. People believed that you could never make it to the top of Mount Everest, that the last 1,000 feet, it was impossible. You would die if you tried to do it. Sure enough, in 1959, when a couple people actually did it, then right after that, it became possible to a whole lot of other people. And then I think it was in the 70s that someone finally did it without being on oxygen, because that was the next thing to overcome. So just remember, you need to think about these beliefs and realize that they are going to shape your reality, whatever you think it is. Okay, and so let's get into the type of limiting beliefs, and then we're going to get into some strategies on how to actually overcome them, how to not be subject to your limiting beliefs. Okay, so there's 3 types of limiting beliefs. Number 1 is world limiting beliefs. Number 2 is limiting beliefs about others. And number 3 are limiting beliefs about yourself. Okay, and I think it's important to really know these different types, because here in a second, you're going to identify some limiting beliefs that possibly hold you back in your solar career or in whatever other goal you're pursuing right now. Okay, so the first one, world limiting beliefs, that's just circumstances that are going on in the world. Okay, maybe you're running a business and you're like, okay, economy's terrible. It's not possible to do to achieve my goal in business. Or specifically for solar, maybe it's this president hates green energy. It's not favorable in my state. I'm never going to be able to have success, right? Or in the case of California, we had net metering 3.0. That would be a world limiting belief. How the laws, regulations changed with solar, made it less favorable. And it's like, oh, solar sucks now in this state, never going to be able to have success because of the circumstances going on in the world or locally, whatever it may be. Yes, that's the first type. The second is limiting beliefs about others. So this example, this would be just maybe you're trying to get promoted at your company, be the next manager. It's like, oh, I'm never going to be good enough for my VP of sales. He's never going to pick me to be the next manager of the office, right? A limiting belief you have about other people. Oh, they haven't responded yet to my text, so they're never going to be interested in solar. This person is never going to be interested. Okay, it's a limiting belief you have about someone else, right? And then the third one is beliefs about ourselves. These could be things like, oh, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm not in good enough shape, I'm not capable of this. Just anything like that that's a belief about ourselves. Okay, and these things you need to look for. I think a good trigger word to listen for is you hear the words like always, can't, never. that's a good clue that it may be a limiting belief if it includes the word always, can't, never. It's a circumstance. Okay. So those are the types of limiting beliefs. So whatever you're thinking, if it's a limiting belief, then it's going to be in one of those categories. All right. So let's talk about how to actually crush these beliefs, how to overcome them, a couple strategies. And side note, if you want to go much more in depth on this, obviously there's lots of YouTube videos and stuff like that out there. But I follow a guy named Michael Hyatt. I've mentioned him before. I'm going through every year I go through his goal setting little program, little course, whatever you want to call it. It's called Your Best Year Ever. His planners are pretty sick too. I think it's called the High Performance Planner. But anyways, you can go check out some of his contents because a lot of ideas I did borrow from him. Okay, some ideas. But yeah, so anyways, how to crush the limiting beliefs. Number one, identify them, right? So again, look for words like always, can't, never. Number two, interrogate them. Just really figure out, are these beliefs fact or fiction? What's actually true? If you took yourself out of the situation, if you put yourself as a third party observer, would they still be true? Would these beliefs still stand true? Interrogate them. And it's going to help a lot to write these down, right? Number three, imagine a liberating truth. So what's the opposite of this? If you think you're terrible at sales, what's the opposite of that? Maybe it's I can listen to the Solarpreneur podcast and become great at sales. Okay. So figure out what a liberating truth would be. And then number four, implement the belief. Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. You got to act like the person that's living the liberating truth rather than the person that's living the limiting belief. Hey, and so just examples from my personal life. I remember last year, I thought it was going to be impossible. A limiting belief I really had to work to overcome was I started up doing some coaching on the side within Solarpreneur. Got a few coaching clients and was able to get them results, which was really cool. Still am. Hit me up if you potentially want to look into it. But a limiting belief I had was, oh, there's people doing way better coaching than me. No one would ever come to me for coaching, for advice. Hey, oh, you got, because like I've been in programs, as you know, I go to door to door con, I go to these Knockstar events. I learn from guys who are just amazing. You got Taylor McCarthy, Sam Taggart, Danny Pessy, a lot of these guys out there that are really great resources, have awesome ideas. So I got caught in the comparison trap and I thought, oh, you know what? Why would someone want to do coaching with me when you could go to Taylor McCarthy? Why would someone want to do coaching with me when you got these awesome events? And it held me back from starting up coaching for a long time just because I I didn't think I was capable. I thought people would rather go to those. So I really had to work hard. I wrote a liberating truth next to it. I said, okay, I have a lot of value. I can help people achieve great results. And then I thought of all the times where I've coached people just in my office. I've helped reps achieve success that have come out here, maybe done blitzes, things like that. I wrote it all down and I had to show myself that evidence of great things I have achieved. And finally, I just went and did it. But really, I had to just work hard to focus on the positive, and then I had to start living it. My first coaching client I was not confident at all about getting them results, but I had to believe, or I had to implement the belief, fake it, do a little bit of faking it till I made it. Still working on it sometimes, but that's what helped me start to actually make progress towards that goal. Okay, so I want to encourage you to just go through that in your own career. If you have not set your goals already, think about these things. Am I having limiting beliefs this year as I read out my goals? Okay, maybe your limiting belief is that you're not a top rep, is that you can never install as many as the top guy in your office or as the top person in the area, whatever. So go through the exercise, identify, interrogate, imagine a liberating truth, and then implement. And they'll help you a lot. And then the last thing with this, last two things, really powerful exercise that I've learned from some events that I've gone to is write out every limiting belief you can think of. Write it on a piece of paper. Okay, I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too whatever, XYZ. And then just look at them. You can go through the first exercise I told you. But what's really powerful is to literally take this piece of paper where you just wrote all the limiting beliefs on and set it on fire. That's right. You heard me. Set that thing on fire and watch these things just burn away into the wind, into the sink, wherever you do it. And I've done this, it's been a minute, but I remember doing this starting out, especially in my solar career. And it helped me so much just to see these things. It's like something's manifesting, that these things are just disappearing. You see these limiting beliefs literally catch on fire, disappear. So I thought it was extremely empowering, and I'd have to go back in some of my course notebooks to see like the science behind it. But it's a really powerful exercise you can do is light your limiting beliefs on fire, literally. You can just take a picture or, crumble up the piece of paper too. That works, but even better, light it on fire. Okay. And then last thing with this, just go through the exercise, right? And think, what are the top 3 limiting beliefs about the world, about others, about yourself? And then just on the other side of the paper, write the liberating truths. Write the opposite of those limiting beliefs, and just get in the habit of recognizing when you have a limiting belief and turn it into a liberating truth. And then this year, I want to challenge everyone listening to the podcast, start to live the opposites of your limiting beliefs and start to notice when you get in your head and start letting the negative take over. I promise you, it's going to help you so much. It's going to help you achieve goals you never thought were possible and help you sell more than you ever thought was possible as well. So I hope that helps. We got some exciting guests coming up here for you soon. Hey, and again, I hope to see you at some of these events coming up. Go grab your tickets for Door to Door Con. Use coupon code Armstrong20. We'll see you there. Thanks for being being a listener of the show. I love you. Keep crushing it, and we'll talk to you soon.